Hey y'all, welcome to Boundaries and Grace. My name is Taylor Chandler. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, helping you break negative relationship patterns by shifting your attachment style. Hey y'all, I'm Taylor Chandler. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm going to talk about people who lie to women. I've got a short list here of people who lie to women. I hope I can help somebody today. Hey, y'all. We've got the nice guys, also known as Pandering Men. We've got Pandering Pastors. We've got women who are romantically or sexually interested in women, or you, if you're a woman and they're lying. We've got mothers and other family members who have had bad personal experiences and have made bad choices. I think we've got one more. Oh yeah. Female friends who have lost hope or desire. And they're not all single. Let's start here because I'm tired of seeing it. And honestly, I don't know how as a man you can even stomach this. Other men who are lying to women because they want to be the nice guy or they're pandering to women. Okay. This is the type who, simply put, will tell women what they want to hear because women will be hopefully deceived. Hopefully deceived. Because women want these guys to be telling the truth, and 98% of men know that it's not the truth. Derek Jackson, thank you. Y'all, women, how was Derek Jackson not enough to be like, wait a second, something's not right here? Derek Jackson I thought that was gonna be I don't even know what to call it. I thought that was gonna like just wake people up. I thought that was gonna be like, wow. The fact that didn't totally destroy his whole career says a lot. Because Derek Jackson was the number one example of a man who totally twists things up, tells women what they want to hear just because women want to hear it. Comes out I don't even want to go down the whole story. If you don't know the story, I don't even have time to tell you. There's video out there about it. But it's the fact that he totally blatantly lied to women and his own wife. I can't even get into it, y'all. The Pandering Men, the nice guy, he fits this description. This is one of these types, motivated by money, okay? Because women will pay these people to lie. Women will pay these people to lie. There are men coaching, and I'm always weary of, I'm not saying that this is always the case, but I'm always weary of, on the front end, men who exclusively coach women, like intentionally, exclusively coach women only, like on purpose, or therapists who male therapists who exclusively work with women. I'm always wary of them. Why? Because it's almost like, I don't like to use this word, but it's true that in some cases it's literally predatory. Like, it's literally predatory because they know that there are women who will pay them to just be held and to be lied to. And they will pay these men to make them feel better. That won't actually tell them the truth. So it's not that men can't be coaches for women, and it's not that men can't be therapists for women. That's definitely not what I'm saying. Please do not confuse what I'm saying. I am saying that that should be a pink flag. It should just make you wonder. And what should you wonder about? You should wonder if men if men align with their message. You've got to wonder. Because when there are men who exclusively or intentionally work with women, if other men are not aligned with that man's message, the professional's message, it's because men don't agree with it and men don't believe in it and men don't think like that. That's why. So when you've got men, a male therapist or a male coach, and especially if they're on Instagram, you can tell easily. Just go to their followers. And if it's all women, it's because men don't think like that man. It's because men don't agree. So when that male therapist or male coach is coaching or therapizing with that woman, they're leading them down a path for women for women that women agree with, that women align with, but they're creating a mindset and behaviors and patterns that the man who that woman definitely wants to be with does not actually align with, does not actually agree with. Is that fair? Can we move on from that? Y'all got that, right? So the men, are we good? If you're coaching women specifically, the men who follow you or the men who are your clients should mirror the character of the man that the woman wants to be with. If that's not the case, y'all, that's the wrong road. So you're going down the wrong road, but you're gonna feel great. And that's the manipulative part. That's the tricky part. And women get really confused about this because you feel good, but it's not true. You feel good, but it's not real. Feels right, not right. Remember that. Write that one down. Feels right, not right. Okay? It's not always right. That's the thing. Let's move on. A note. I got to make this a note on male therapists. I don't want to call any names. I don't want to do it. I'm going to have to make a note on this. Male therapists in particular, I'm not talking about coaches. I'm talking about therapists. They do not have the same emotional makeup as the average man. They don't. They're more in touch with their feminine side, which is fine. But you got to think about the context. They're more in touch with their feminine side, and they're often they're using their feminine side to be a therapist. That male therapist is using their feminine side to be a male therapist. It's okay, that's his job. But here's the problem. Sometimes they present a version of a man that's simply unrealistic. A man can become more like that if that's what he wants to do. Okay, a man can become more like that if that's what he wants to do, and I'm all for, absolutely, 1,000%, 50,000%. I'm for emotionally intelligent, emotionally mature men. Okay, men who are in touch with their emotional side. I'm all for it. But the issue again is that male therapists tend to present ideas about men that aren't realistic for the average man. Does that make sense, y'all? Is that fair? Most men aren't coming with that level of emotional language and tools. They're not coming with all that. Many men that want to be in relationship with women, they know that that's a part of it, but they're not coming with it to the degree that a male therapist is coming with. Be for real. So it's totally fine and good. And I think that you should be looking, that should be on your list of standards in terms like someone who's emotionally intelligent, emotionally mature, whatever. That should be on your list of standards when you're trying to match with a man when you're dating. But it should not match the degree, the level that the way that the male therapist on the internet is modeling that. Men on Tinder and Bumble and Hinge aren't coming with all that. Be for real. Be realistic. Should he want that? Should he be working towards that? Should he have an idea that that's important in relationship? Absolutely. Is he going to look like the male therapist that you love online? No, he's not. Is that fair, y'all? Are we okay? Let's keep going. Other nice guys who lie to women, there can just be normal people. They don't got to be therapists. They don't got to be coaches, but just normal people, not professionals, not podcasters. Okay, just normal people, lay people who benefit from female attention. Women, you applaud them, you thank them, I don't want to say anything else. Metaphorically speaking, average people, normal people, and I don't even mean not average in a bad way. We're gonna get to the whole average thing at some point because people act like average is the worst thing ever. Average is most. That's the point. It's majority. It's the big part of the bell curve. Average is most people. Most of us average on a lot of stuff. Most stuff. Okay, most of us we average. Below average on some stuff. Above average on some other stuff. Average ain't that bad. That's why it's the majority of people. It's the bulk. Dang. Anyway, average people, not professionals, benefit from lying to women because women, y'all give them so much attention. You applaud them. You thank them. Y'all be on the comments, on the replies. Thank you so much. Finally, somebody said it. How many times, guys, have you seen that? It's going to be some guy in the comments that's like, not all men are like that. Most men are, though. Not all men are like that. Women be like, Finally, somebody said it. We need your voice. And they love it. They love it because you be like just so ready to cuddle on up with that dude. So they benefit from lying about the way that most men think and what most men want, because you give them attention and you applaud them and you reward them for it. Another example of the nice guys, of the pandering guys who lie to women, guys with low self-esteem. Low self-esteem, folks. They think that they have to concede to women. Concede. The word should just gross you out. Concede. Concede? I give up. I give in. I lose. Oh, it's just so cringe. It's so cringe in real life. Okay? People with low self-esteem that concede even when they don't have to, that's even worse. It's even worse when you don't even gotta do it and you just do it because you chose to do it. Or you, even worse than that, you're compelled to do it. It feels like you can't help but to do it. It's very cringe. Okay? So guys with low self-esteem will lie to women because they think that they have to concede to women and excessively praise them. Never pointing out their faults to be liked. They just want to be liked because they have low self-esteem. And they want you to like them. And you praise them excessively, never pointing out their faults in order to be liked. You probably have mommy issues. This is not the lie for me to get into that. I don't even want to emphasize that right now. Anyway, these guys, these pandering guys, these super nice guys, they can even have a lot of followers on the internet. I've seen them. I know them. Okay. They might have a lot of followers, but I want you to understand this. Just because someone has a lot of followers doesn't really mean shit at this point. Here's the point. If there is a man that's got a lot of followers online, okay, you got to click them. Click the followers and look. When you see the vast majority of a male figure's followers are women, it's because only women want to hear what he has to say. That's why. It's not like there are men that are secretly co-signing it, like, yeah, in the back, but they don't follow the guy, or they're not engaging with it. That's not it. They're not there because they don't care. Write that down. They're not there because they don't care. They don't believe it. And they're not going to spend their time trying to, like, on the stuff being like, we don't believe this guy. They're just not going to follow it. Okay? So if it's a male figure, look at the followers. If it's only women, it's because only women want to hear it. And men know that that message is simply not true. Are we good? Okay, back to this idea, y'all. Women will be hopefully deceived, hoping that what a man says is true, hoping that other men think like him. But the reality is that if mainly women are behind it, what someone is saying, it's because only women are willing to believe it and live by it. Not just believe it, not just co-sign it, but live by it. Like literally, like structure your life around it. The caveat here, y'all, is that some men will believe it and live by it, but those are most often men who are in their own feminine energy, or they're literally predatory. Okay? I mean, men who are in their feminine energy will relate to and agree with large groups of women that the majority of men don't agree with. So it's not that you'll never find a man in that group. It's what kind of man. You all gotta wrap your minds around this. We gotta start splitting up the monolith, because a monolith doesn't exist. Not all men and not all women are the same. Everybody agrees on that, but you don't know how to make the separations and and compartmentalize and categorize it appropriately. Okay, so you can have some men that'll be in those little circles, but it's not the kind of man that you want. How do I know that? Those men will have qualities that sound good, like emotional intelligence and empathy. You love it, don't you? Emotional intelligence and empathy, but they'll lack masculine energy that a woman really desires, especially sexually. So there's a difference between the man who, I can't get into all these details, but there's a difference between a man who is like the public figure, almost like the Derek Jackson type, okay? Who knows how to use feminine energy knows how to use feminine energy and use it for his advantage, his masculine advantage, okay? But men who follow guys like that, like Derek Jackson is an extreme example, but we're talking about the nice guys, the pandering guys. Men who follow guys like that, They have the feminine qualities that women like in men, and everybody's got masculine and feminine energy, okay? But they like the feminine qualities, the emotional intelligence, the empathy, the affirmation, that affirming, that nurturer, okay? But they lack the masculine energy that the woman desires sexually. So these women end up rejecting those guys at the end of the day. And even worse than rejecting you is they'll stay with you and disrespect you. They'll stay with you and disrespect you because you've got that feminine thing that they like, but you lack the masculine energy that they crave. Somebody write it down. I don't know, y'all. That's good. That's good. That's number one, y'all. Let's move on to number two, pandering pastors. I don't even want to do this. But I got notes anyway. Pandering pastors. I want to point out the role of the church in misleading women and contributing to the downfall of the family. Yeah. All of these things could have all of these things could have full episodes in and of themselves. But let's just highlight a couple things. Pandering pastors. Y'all, single women are running the church. Single women run the church. The vast majority of churches are run by single women. Now, she's not the pastor of the church, but she running that church. The vast majority of the people that are in church are women. And that's the vast majority of churches. And thus, the money received is coming from women more than anybody else. So it's similar to how the entertainment industry caters to women because women are the ones who are paying. Y'all, the churches are not mainly attended by women just because men don't want to be spiritual or men don't want to be under the authority of God. That's not necessarily it. Some do want to do it and some don't. That's not the point here. The point is the ones that do want this to be a part of their life can't be in the majority of churches because they won't stand for the pastor who's not willing to give the whole truth about what the word of God says about women and family and men and order. So when they will cater to the woman because women are the ones filling the seats and women are the ones paying, and they'll leave out and twist and flip and cut things out and not tell the whole story about what the word of God says about order. I'll tell you why this matters. Pastors leave out all kinds of stuff. They add, they take out, they twist, they flip, whatever, because they know that their bread and butter, single women, would gawk at it. And I know this is hard to hear for a lot of people. Why? Because you don't want to hear it. People don't want to hear this. And anyway, these pastors know that single women would gawk at what the Bible actually says about women and what the Bible actually says about order and what the Bible actually says about punishment and what the Bible actually says about authority and what the Bible actually says about obedience, not just in relationship, but just in general. These pastors know that single women would gawk at what the Bible actually says in its entirety. So they leave it out and men won't stand for it. So the pastors will accommodate and compromise and men don't respect that. And they're not sitting for that. It's not that men don't necessarily even want to be spiritual or want to be in, and I'm not giving an endorsement of anything about, I'm just highlighting the issue here. I'm saying that it's not that men don't want to be in church areas. Some do, some don't. But understand this, Islam does not have the issue of incredibly low, almost non-existent. Men in the church that's extinct. It's not even almost there. What do they call it? It's like you almost extinct. It's like extinct. Islam doesn't have that issue. Judaism does not have that issue. Nothing compared to the lack of male attendance in the church. Why? It's clearly not because they don't want to be spiritual. that they don't want to be religious, that they don't want to be under the authority of God. That's not that. Some do, some don't. The point is, that's not the end of the problem. The issue is that there are way more Christian pastors who will pander and accommodate and twist up what they call the word of God to pander to a human woman. And that's what men don't respect. Islam don't have that issue. Judaism don't got that issue. Let's move on. Oh, I gotta add this. One reason why this is so important to point out is because the pastor refusing to tell the whole truth gives women in the church, gives Christian women in particular, a different level of spiritual authority. Y'all, people don't know how dangerous this, how wild this is, how deep this gets. This gives women another level, a level of spiritual authority to do what they want to do and call it God's plan, because to them, God's plan has been presented as their plan with God's power behind it. You don't know how deep this is. I can't even talk about it anymore. It upsets me. Because if there's one thing I dislike, it's dishonesty. I don't like that. And I especially don't like when people use God to manipulate and to take advantage of people and to create a certain narrative. I don't like that. It's like the grossest thing to me, because using spiritual authority like, I don't know, incorrectly, like abusing spiritual authority is so gross. Using God to push a certain narrative is so gross to me. Anyway, I'm going to go on because I cannot. We're going to talk about women who are romantically or sexually interested in women. I'm not saying anything about your life, your preference, your sexual orientation, but I am saying that there can be a motivation to lie to women. When we've got mothers and other family members, female family members, aunts, grandmothers that have bad personal experiences and bad personal choices that lie to women. We've got female friends who have lost hope or desire lying to women. I hate to see it. This one's going to be really short, y'all. This part really, really short. Women who are romantically or sexually interested in women. Women who are all out lesbian or bisexual. Like, this is not about how you live. This is not about your sexual orientation. Don't talk to me about that on this episode. I'm not talking about that. I am saying women who are the L or the B in the LGBTQIA plus community, or this is another one, the questioning community in that group. These are the ones who have become curious about women as a reaction to being dissatisfied with men. Come on, some of that's been you. What I just described. How many people do you know, or a friend that you've had, that because of their dissatisfaction with men are like, I'll just try women, can't be worse, or hey, maybe they got something that I'm not getting over here. This is who I'm talking about, okay? They can have a whole different motivation when talking about men, or a whole different mindset when talking about men. In short, I really believe that straight women need to be more aware of who messages are coming from, okay? And what that person's mindset is, because the advice is coming from their mind. Someone's not just talking to you, they're talking to you with themselves. Okay? They're not. A person giving a message is not separate from the message. So when they're talking about heterosexual relationships, lesbians, bisexual people, or women who are curious about other women, when they're talking about heterosexual relationships, there's a bend to it, a queerness to it. That's what queer means, bent. There's a bend to it. There's a spin on it. There's something that's not quite straight about it. So when someone who identifies like that, I'm not talking about your identification. I'm talking about the motivation behind talking about heterosexual relationships when you don't even want one, or when you've never been in one, or when you are so individually disgusted adverse, upset about, whatever you want to call it, about heterosexual relationships in your life, that it queers the message that's coming out of your mouth. And so I think that there are more straight women that need to be more aware of who is giving the message. I'm not going to name any names, but some of y'all know that there are some people out here that are, I mean, I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get into it. Just like there are male and female versions of every problem. And sometimes you got a woman who really likes women talking real bad about men. Why? Because she likes women. And she might want you. She might want you. Listen, women used to be on me. I'm not gonna lie to you. I can't lie to you. It's a conversation for a different day. But some of them will hunt. They will hunt. I'm telling you, they will hunt you. If they want you. Some of them get a little bit, they got that aggression. They got that hunter in them. Okay? They coming for you. That's not all people that are in that, but I'm being for real, especially if they online, like with a whole persona and you a whole, you know what I'm saying? Let's move on. Y'all, this is going to be a little bit tough to hear. I want to talk really briefly about female family members, including your mother, that have had bad personal experiences and choices. Because sometimes people want to leave out the mother. Mothers, aunts, grandmothers with bad personal experiences or bad choices themselves, who are lying to women or projecting their experiences onto women, their own family members, their own daughters, y'all. And I'm not saying this is intentional. I'm not even going to get into that, because sometimes people take this so far and go into the whole mother is like intentionally sabotaging. That's not that common, y'all. But it's usually more of a, I don't want to downplay that either, but it's usually more of an unintentional thing going on, something that they're unaware of, okay? And they're unintentionally damn lying, okay? If your mother, first of all, get real. If your mother doesn't have the ability to take accountability for what happens between you and her, and you were actually there, you were in the same room, you was on the phone call, you was at the birthday, Christmas time, you was there, something happened, and you were like, you ended up trying to, have some sort of conversation with her about it, and she just couldn't do it. She just deflects, denies, deny, dismiss, criticize, shut you down, threaten you. If your mother doesn't even have the ability to take accountability for what happened between you and her, and you were damn there, how can you trust? Y'all got to be real. I know this hurts. How can you trust she's going to tell you the truth about what happened between her and somebody else, and you weren't there? Be for real, y'all. This really hurts my heart. This really hurts my heart. It gives me no pleasure to say this. It really doesn't. It really doesn't, because it's a really big problem. But if your mother can't even be real with you about you, and you was there, and she got stories and all kinds of stuff about other people, your own father, how can you trust? And I don't just, you got to ask yourself at some point, this can be a real game changer for some people, for a lot of people, I dare say, when you're like, when I bring up that conversation that we had, you act like it never happened. But damn, you talking about my daddy like this? How do I know? The thing is, you really don't. Sometimes you don't, because your mom will be leaving stuff out, twisting, flipping, all kinds of stuff. I'm not saying she's doing it intentionally. Some of them do, some of them don't. I can't even get into all the details and caveats. But you got to ask yourself, if you have an issue getting accountability from her about you, and you was there, you cannot take this late. You cannot take her, let's be real, you cannot take her account at face value. You cannot take her account at face value. Listen, this is attachment. We all have intense motivation to trust our parents, because in order to survive, we need a home base. Let me be serious. In order to survive, we need a home base. In order to have that feeling of security, we need a home base. This is why sometimes it's not until you're with a healthy person or a mature person, whether it's romantically or as friends, sometimes it's not until you're with a healthy person that you're finally able to begin seeing your family for who they really are. Since you now have the opportunity to be supported by others, you may not have the same motivation to hold on to your blood family by any means necessary at all costs. Does that make sense for y'all? Someone might need to replay that I think someone need to replay that. Everybody needs a home base. So when you get another one outside of your blood family, sometimes it's not until that happens that you're finally able to see what was your home base, who was your security, who was your home base before. Sometimes it's not until you get that new home base that you finally look back and start to see those people for who they really are and what they really did and didn't do. Anyway, because we all have a desire to trust our parents, especially our mother, our perception may be distorted about who she really is as a person. You may want to see her as, this is triggering. I feel like somebody getting triggered. You may want to see her as protective, but she may also be selfish. You may want to see her as loving, but she also might be overly critical. You may want to see her as firm, but she also might be neglectful. You may want to see her as hardworking, but she may also be cold. Your mother is not your wife or your girlfriend. So people who experienced her as that have a different perspective because they're not looking at her through the eyes of her child. You cannot underestimate this, how much love and attachment distorts our perception. It can be helpful, y'all, to have a conversation with your father. If your parents are divorced, even if your parents are married in the same house, and if you have issues with your adult relationships now, ask that man. Because men be quiet. Most men, they be so quiet about what they dealt with your mother. They be so quiet. Men do not get enough. I'm so serious, y'all. Men do not get enough credit for how they protect your mother's image. Because they don't want you to lose out on having a mom. They don't want you to be looking at your mom crazy. So they be quiet. Sometimes they be real quiet. They take some of that stuff to the grave. Okay? Until they're invited. And you be like, what's up? Okay? So it can be helpful to have a conversation with your father or your mother's father, your grandfather, about your mother and what their experience is, because they're looking at her not with the eyes of a child, they're looking at her as a man, okay? Who has a different type of intimate relationship with her. I recommend, if you open that up, to do that with the help of a therapist so you don't open up something that you can't manage and you have support through it, okay? Other women in your family may have negative experiences with men and they blame the men rather than focusing on what they could have done differently. Is this anybody? Y'all real quiet. Is this too deep? Is it too triggering? Is it too hard to hear? I mean, I don't know. You tell me. You okay? You got women in your family like this? Other women in your family may have negative experiences with men and they blame the men rather than focusing on what they could have done differently. This paints a general picture that men are bad, that they hurt people, that they can't be trusted, or they are all around unnecessary. You got women in your family like that? Thank you, Tia, for speaking up. You got women in your family like that? Hearing these things consistently, y'all, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the psych part of this. Hearing these things consistently affects your schema, which is basically your map. So in this case, thank you, Khalid, for the feedback. I like feedback. The more that you give me, the more that I like to, it helps me. It helps me. I like little hearts. I like little fire emojis. I like little 100s, sometimes that's all I need. Okay, so hearing those kinds of messages consistently affects your schema, and in this context, that's essentially the map of a man and how relationships go. So this affects the way that you interact with and think about men. So it affects your outcomes. No one gets away from this, y'all. Some stuff is just simple mental. It's just psych. It's just mental. It's just the way that everybody's brain works. It's the way that we all process information. It's just neurology. It's just brain. It's just emotions. Okay. And what you don't want to do, especially if you're not getting the outcomes you want, what you don't want to do is be like, that ain't me. It's everybody. So sometimes our defense, okay, and our ignorance, it's not good to be defensive and ignorant, to not know and then be pushing away the truth. That's a bad place to be. It's not good to be defensive and ignorant. So when it's like that's not me, like I'm gonna do better. I'm the chain breaker, but you ain't done nothing to break no chain. You not that. You want to be that, and you can be that, but you got to be real about the kinds of things that have been essentially programmed into you. So if you've had consistent messages told to you, taught to you, it's essentially that's a teaching about men and relationships. And when it's been consistently negative and painful, that affects in your subconscious, your schema, your map of how relationships should go, your map of how men are and who men are. Are y'all following? You may not mirror, like match exactly what the women in your family look like or act like, but those messages no doubt get seated in your subconscious, and whether you are conscious of it or not, or act like them outwardly or not, those messages are there and they're affecting you. I don't know how much more clearer I could say it. It's not likely, y'all, that you be able to uncover all of this on your own. They're blind spots because we're blind to them. It's in your subconscious because it's subconscious. You're not conscious of it. Okay? So therapy helps. Therapy helps. I will save the live. And this episode will be up on Boundaries and Grace. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be on Apple. It'll be on Spotify. Here's the last one, y'all. Are y'all following? I got to get these nails done. I'm going to hold my water bottle like this. I'm trying to wait. I got to wait till like Thursday. I can't stand to see some of these nails without a fill. And here I am. They strong. They definitely strong though. I'm gonna give myself that. They definitely strong, but I definitely need to go ahead and get them filled in. It's just like that time, and the place close to me, like I kind of don't want to go to them anymore, and I got to go back to where I was going before. It's like 20 minutes. You see, I got to do this because I don't want you to really look at them. I gotta go like 20 minutes up, and then I'd be sitting there, and then we gotta do the whole fill. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Appointments, y'all. Sometimes just maintaining appointments is a part-time job. Seriously, the hours, the drive time, the hours, the scheduling. I mean, honestly, I don't know how I can be expected to be working full time doing this and be part-time. I gotta be at my appointments. So let's talk about this last one, y'all. Let's talk about female friends who have lost hope or desire. Female friends who have lost hope or desire. This is so sad. These might be women. These are women who are often talking about women negatively in general. So we're not talking about your family. We're just talking about your friends, your platonic friends, female friends who might be just negatively talking about men in general. Y'all, listen, there's a difference between sharing a bad experience, because we're not going to paint the men. Come on, y'all. We're not going to paint it like men never do anything wild. We're not going to paint it like women have never have any point about anything. That's just, we don't want to get unhealthy. We don't do unhealthy over here. We just don't. We got to be realistic. We got to be reasonable people. Okay. So we're not going to act like men never do anything. Just like we're not going to act like women never do anything. We don't bash or do anything crazy. We don't got to make stuff up. Okay. We don't got to, you know what I'm saying? We're not doing that. That's wild. It's weird and wild. Okay. But y'all, look, there's a difference between sharing a bad experience and being stuck perpetuating a negative narrative. So be especially aware of people who are telling the same sad story over and over, or who are telling other people's stories with the same, listen to me, with the same emotional reactivity as if it was their story. You're gonna be listening to your friends a little bit different. You're gonna be doing that little brunch on Sunday a little bit different. You need to be looking like this. Don't drink too much. Don't go past that second drink. You need to be listening like this and watching like this. Like, what is y'all really saying? What y'all really talking about? Okay? So I'm gonna say that part again. So it's repeating the same sad story over and over, or sharing other people's stories as if it was their story, and they have the same emotional react. They're over identifying with other people's negative experiences. Essentially trauma bonding with people that they might not know, or who they are not even in a romantic relationship with. They're bonding in the trauma emotionally and mentally with stories that really aren't theirs. Beware of these people, y'all. Female friends who have lost hope and desire will be lying to you or presenting the wrong image of men. Y'all, some of these people will try to, listen, women, be for real. Some of them will really try to rope you into some sort of female commune. They're not going to call it that though. But again, listen like this. Listen like this. They try to rope you into some sort. I'm not saying this is everybody, but they might be suggesting that about 4 to 6 of y'all get a little house together where you share responsibilities for keeping each other alive. It's called a commune, but they're not going to call it that. They will eliminate your future vision of being with a man or having a family with a man. They your family now. Y'all, come on. These are people who have lost hope, who have lost desire, stuff drying up, hope drying up. Other things be drying up. They be talking about celibacy like they asked for it, like they chose it. Y'all, you know incels? You know what an incel is? It's an involuntarily celibate person. Involuntarily celibate. Incel. We have male incels, but people don't talk about the female incels. Women who are involuntarily celibate, but they act like they chose it. But it's really because they got a lot of issues. I'm not saying, and I do not play about some people who really choose it. I totally 1000%, I get it. I'm just saying that's not everybody. So they're trying to get you into some sort of female commune. Y'all sharing responsibilities, eliminating the vision of a man in your life. Y'all, this stuff gets real in your subconscious. Wake up. So there's also the type of friend who acts like men don't exist at all, like they're neither here nor there, like it don't matter. They downplay men as if having one wouldn't light their life up, like they just wouldn't, like it wasn't on their vision board in 2022. But after 2022 didn't go the way that they thought it would, they started losing hope in 2023, and now it's 2024, and things didn't go the way that they thought, and now they acting like they never wanted it in the first place. Cap. Stop the cap. So these kinds of women, these kinds of friends, they don't really think a good relationship will happen for them. So they're trying to erase the idea of it altogether. They're trying to Men in Black themselves, just as if they never wanted it, as if they still, in some part of them, don't still want it. They're trying to act like it doesn't exist. These people are in friend groups. I see it rampant. So you got to be around women who have positive attitudes, who take accountability and responsibility for getting a relationship to the same degree that they would expect a man to put forth their best effort to get a relationship with what they're hoping for is them. You want to be around women who can openly express that they want a relationship and who appreciate their own relationship. Y'all, I've had to cut friends who they was in whole marriages, and the way they talked about their husband, I was like, I can't even do this. So it's not about, people say single people to keep people single. Okay, I understand it. I get it. But it's really just unhappy people that keep people single. It's unhappy people that keep people unhappy. I think that's a lot more accurate. Because I've seen people, and some of y'all will know them as well, that are in whole marriages with people that they talking bad about, with people that they don't really like for real, with people that they're plotting on leaving, with people that they're plotting on cheating on. Guys, come on. So you got to be willing to set some really strong boundaries or totally detach from these people, okay? Because these people will get all in your energy, all up in your brain, and they will and they will, and you share too much with them, they're going to get in your brain about who you just shared about and who you're dating, and they're going to, you don't want none of that. Set strong boundaries. Couple notes, women, and then I got to go. So you want to be on the lookout for what I've described, okay? You're likely going to need new and stronger boundaries in place. Get with a therapist that's going to help you to manage these transitions in a healthy way and work through the old programming. Get a therapist that will help you work through the old programming that has not gotten you the outcomes that you want. Go to therapy. If you want to work together with me, there's a link in my bio. We can work together one-on-one. Be willing to make new friends and be in new community with healthy people. I'm not even talking about that you should cut people off altogether. Sometimes that you need it, and sometimes you don't need to do all of that. I'm a little extreme. I'd be like, just go ghost for a little bit. Just go no contact and really get yourself together. But that's not, that's not for everybody. Be willing to at least make new friends and be in new community with people, okay? Some people so loyal to your detriment, and you be hanging on to people that you ain't got nothing in common with at this point. But it's the history that keeps you stuck. And ladies, last thing, I know women want people to fight for them. Women want people to fight. You want somebody to fight for you, but you gotta stop fighting back. Okay? You gotta stop fighting back. It's like that lifeguard thing. When the lifeguard's coming out to get you, what the people say, if you're drowning, don't try to fight back. And the lifeguard's not supposed to grab onto you if you acting all crazy. Because then that lifeguard's going down with you. We can't both be dead. You gotta relax. And so when you're hearing something that's not immediately resonating with what you've already thought, and with what you already think, with what you think you already know, we gotta learn how to relax and take the defenses down, take the walls down, and listen and learn and be curious about it rather than just fighting back. You want somebody to fight for you. Stop fighting back. All right, y'all. This episode will be up on Boundaries and Grace on Thursday.